Hey everybody, this is Jerry, and this is the first video installment of my backyard garden project. As many of you know, we moved in late August of 2011, and our backyard came with a multitude of challenges. If you've looked at my Tumblr blog, you've seen photographs of how the yard was before we purchased the home, and more recent ones of some of the work that I've done. For the past several weeks, I've been working on a long-term gardening project that will run through all of 2012 and most of 2013. I wanted to give you a tour, show you what it looks like now, and give you an idea of what it will look like in the future. The first thing to notice is that our backyard is on a hill. It's quite big. It's wide and shaped like a baseball diamond. There are old retaining walls here. Some parts of them are still in good shape, others are not. For example, you can see this one here is literally coming apart at the seams. This section here was completely open when we moved in. I've since repaired it. I used, or rather reused, old retaining wall boards here, and then in these two sections I used pallets. Pallets are very sturdy. My concern for this area was that if we had any heavy rain, that it would weaken this part of the hill and cause it to collapse. So I let the weeds grow up so that their roots would help retain the soil. This is the first weekend of March, and we've had very little rain, so it hasn't been an issue. This section here is still open. Before I get to repairing it, I'm going to dig out quite a bit of this dirt, but also these two aloe vera plants. They've got a lot of dead growth on them. I want to break the roots free and break them apart, see if I can transplant them and bring them back to life. I need to lower this section before I can set a post in there. This area here was completely covered all the way up to the tops of these boards. At first I assumed it was just dirt, and I thought I might be able to level it out, but the face of this retaining wall was completely gone. As I began removing the dirt from here, I found a great deal of debris. There was a plastic pool buried in there, plastic tarp, plastic lattice, window blinds, tree roots, lumber, drip irrigation hose, plastic pipe, yogurt containers, paintbrush, garbage bags, chicken wire, palm leaves, and the list kind of goes on. I've removed about 10 yards of dirt from here, trying to clean it up. I still have quite a ways to go. Since I can't get any heavy equipment into this backyard, I'm doing all this by hand. I'm going to come back over this direction and let you see the length of this. So what I plan to do is to redo the face of this one, reset it with new posts and boards, and make two new retaining wall sections all the way over to the fence. I'll have a break in between them somewhere in this area where I'll put a little staircase here so a person can go up to either side without having to climb onto these. There's an old concrete fish pond here. I'm not sure what they would have kept in it. We've talked about taking this out completely and redoing it and turning it into a barbecue pit. This section here is leaning quite a bit, so I poured a concrete footing here and braced it up with a post so I can fix it permanently. My goal is to remove all of these wooden retaining walls and put in retaining wall blocks. However, financially that's not in the picture right now. I've got my red onions in here. Stockton Reds. I've got a little over 100 of them. This area was sloped all the way up to the base of the fence, and I built this retaining wall. I used a combination of boards and pallets, and that allowed me to flatten this area out. I've got potatoes planted in here and some fruit trees on this section above. This almond tree was not very healthy, so I decided to remove it and make way for other trees. We've got another little fruit tree planted here. Still have 2 almond trees left that are still in bloom. They've been in bloom for a couple of weeks. The grapevines had filled in this whole distance from right about here all the way through here, and they had just continued to trellis and even made their way up into the almond trees all the way up to the top. This area here from the trunk of this tree, it slopes down this way, and so that means when I try and water these trees, the water doesn't stand very well. It wants to run downhill. So I need to level this out. But one of my other problems is from the base of that tree to where I'm standing is about 4 feet difference. I'm about 4 feet lower than that other end. So I'm going to have to transition dirt from there to where I'm standing in order to bring a bit more balance. That tree is a fruited mulberry, not a fruitless. Fruited mulberry has a almost like a loganberry type fruit on it. It's a dark burgundy color. They're very sweet. They're very good for making preserves, but they're also very sticky and very messy. This tree has never been pruned or cared for, so I've decided to remove it also and make way for other things. So I'll need to, again, transition dirt from there to where I'm standing here, and then also in this direction, and bring this up to level it out in relation to these 2 almond trees. And then you can see the end of the retaining wall that I built. I'm going to come right from over here where that pile of brush is. By the way, this pile of brush and that pile of wood is from those 2 trees. That's another thing that I still have to get rid of. But the retaining wall will come around this direction and back to where I am, and back behind me another almost 20 feet. Behind me is the fence. So what I'll do is cut this down, build a retaining wall, and flatten it out. That'll give me more usable garden space. But I have such a broad distance between there and here, I may put a 4th retaining wall here somewhere. I haven't decided yet. I kind of calculated there's somewhere between 40 and 50 yards of dirt to move around on this upper section, just on this end alone. And again, since I can't get any heavy equipment in here, I'll have to do it by hand. It's going to be quite a job. So that's the basics for now. Thanks for watching, and it's a nice sunny day out. In a few weeks I'll post another video, and hopefully by then I'll have some of this brush out and some more of the retaining wall sections down below me built up, and then start in on grading this in order to see how much dirt exactly I'm going to have to move. Have a great day.